guys, welcome back. I did the last video and I can hear crickets. I can hear crickets. Um, why Ogu had me find that out, and why Ogu's having me deal with race and everything. You kids today, you wouldn't understand it, and if you came from other places, you might not understand it, though I think Europeans might have like a better grasp on this. Um, in my area where you grew up, everything was heavily segregated. Um, I mixed race according to a lot of the people around here because I'm part Italian, I'm part German, I'm part Polish, I'm part God knows what. 'Cause something jumped over the fence somewhere, and I have been told repeatedly that if I ever do a blood test, I'm disowned. Well, they're not blood anyway, so who cares? But things are so segregated that if you were not pure Polish, you could not join the Polish club, and if you weren't pure Italian, you couldn't join the Italian club, and so forth and so on. And I was raised that, we were to, and this hurts to say, we were to keep with our own kind. And this is not a black-white thing. This was like a Polish, Italian, German thing. And the people in our family were really upset and ashamed that they ever mixed the bloodlines. They wanted to get the bloodlines pure somehow. I had one family member that would compare Polish people to people of different ethnicity and say we're the same and we were all dirty skinned, and say Italians were the same way, and the people on the Italian side of the family would say about Polish people and and me being so mixed, it was a shame. And the grandparents and the aunts and the uncles and the cousins and that made sure I knew. Because other people in the family made better choices when they married and didn't muddy up the bloodlines even more. And sorry. And those of us who are Mutts, or Heinz 57, or whatever we choose to call ourselves, you learn after a while to be proud that you're mixed. Because you might as well not sit here and cry. I mean, when people start hate speeches and say they're going to ship like all the people back to Europe, I'm like, great, how many pieces are you cutting me in? And, it's just, you have to learn to take pride in it. Like, one of my friends, she's like, I don't even remember because I really don't care what people are, but she's half and half. And she knows I'm at least, thirds or whatever. White people like to sit here and do math on what we are. And, and that's funny because I'm called white by a lot of people, but in this area, I don't qualify as white. And I'm not saying that to, like, stir stuff up and, like, start crap, but in this area, I don't qualify. And I think Ogu wanted me to look at that because I was always treated as, like, the half-breed, not even half-breed since I have so much in me. And one uncle on the other side that was, like, proud of her mixed ancestry. He did research, and we are really, I think everybody visited everywhere. My ancient ancestors were going through the countries of Europe and everywhere else and, like, checking off checklists, like, we have some of this, and we have some of this, and we have some of this. And he was actually proud. He was like, this is so cool. Our family's so awesome. And that's the thing today. People are finally starting to take pride in, being a mutt and being mixed. Because they're actually, to be perfectly clear, you guys all know, because I've said before, there's really no such thing as race. We're all like one human species. It's, it's melatonin in the skin, if I can get that right. Not to talk about what's in Turkey or something. And that's all it is. We're actually one exact race, and our ancestors, depending on where they came from, that's where we get our tone, our height, our build, our propensity to being hairy, or I've been told I'm dark for an Italian. And we're like hairy little she-beast Italian women. We're like werewolves. We all own stuff, stock and Bic. It's the thing. We're hairy. But we get it because was a lot of malaria in Italy and any other place where it's swampy. So having a lot of bodily hair kept your ancestors alive. But, you do have to face it sometime. You have to face, like, when you feel mixed race and you feel you never fit in anywhere and you never had this culture of your own, because you would be included up to a point in the Italian of the family, and then you would be excluded. And you would be included up to a point in the German of the family, and then you would be excluded, and so forth and so on. You get to feel lonely, and I think that's maybe why so many people my age became like vagabonds and were like looking into all other cultures. Because we felt like we didn't have one of our own. We weren't welcomed by our own people, so we had to go find something that we could fit in. And America is not a race, and I was going, well, you're American. It's not the same thing. We didn't have anything to take cultural pride in, because, if you would wear, it would be like a Oktoberfest, and like we were kids, and you'd be celebrating, and you'd have like something German, like the full-blooded German kids would be like, you're not German. I know you're not German, because your grandmother's, half and half, and your other grandmother's this, and it was just, it sucked. I to this day, I don't see why it's so important to be full-blooded anything. I mean, it's kind of like, like Harry Potter, and I kind of understand how those kids feel, like the poor little mudbloods or something, because, you're told you're not pure, and you don't fit in. And in my family, both sides of the family would sit the little children down and say, well, your great-grandfather of so-and-so that was all German should have never married so forth, and the Italians should have never married this, and the Poles should have never married that. And they would hate you for what you are. So that's what we were kind of raised with. Your ancestors would hate you and be ashamed of you because you're not a pure blood. Now, I have no idea if Europeans felt like that. I think that it was a cultural phenomenon over here in America, because everybody that came over here, the paranoid people came over here. The chillax people stayed in Europe. We got the paranoid people that came over here. And, they would set up communities, which in part made sense because everybody did speak other language in that. But then, when you just kept being separate, then that's getting kind of Stepford Wives creepy, in my honest opinion. But I kind of wanted to talk about that, because Ogu was kind of like, you have to face this, and I think that's what he did the shifts, and he led me to the tarot deck for Voodoo, and there was like one for Santeria as well, because you have to come to the point where you're comfortable in your own skin. And we know today, for example, if I went and I got a DNA test, it would only be like, say there's like 48 ancestors at one point, it'd only take the one on the far left, and the far right. Everybody in between, it would miss. So you could have, like, say, I could have German here, and I could have Italian here, and I could have, every other country on the planet, and the rest of those people, and I wouldn't know. So, it's something, like, I've been tempted at times to do, to, like, kind of thumb my nose to the family, but I'm not talking to them anyway, so it's kind of expensive thing to thumb my nose at them, and, in the end, it's just like a curiosity thing, because magically, I don't think it matters. I've never believed in forcing you to work with gods or goddesses or spirits because you come from that country, or telling you can't because you don't. So, yeah, I just kind of want to talk about that. And Ogu's having me face that, and it, like, really, really sucks, because you can't change the blood in your system. I can't go, get pure Italian blood put in me, or pure German, but, I had a very wise, mother, and she told me, you know what? And I'm not saying this to be mean. She said, at least in our family, like the pure-blooded people were kind of like pure-blooded dogs. They were kind of like high-strung. She said you never got to meet them. She said they were really high-strung. There was something about when people finally loosened up and married who they loved instead of marrying to keep racial purity. That people started to cheer out. Like a Mutt's usually pretty laid-back dog, because a Mutt's closer to not having been fooled around with by people than, a pure breed, because pure breeds, humans just kept messing with them to make them into whatever. So, I'm sure I just lost all my subs on that. But, she wanted to make me feel bad, because, she was half and half that we know of, if we know whatever else is in the family. And I was, in thirds, and she had gone through it too. She had gone through the shame of, how dare your German ancestors muddy up the bloodline with Polish people. And Polish people would feel the same way towards the Germans, and they would have their clubs too. And she wasn't ever invited, so it kind of sucked. And I'm like one of those people that'll be like, la 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 la, I'm just ignoring it. And Olga's like, no, you're dealing with this. And we still have those clubs today, and I still can't go into them. I can't set a foot in the door because I'm not a pure blood, but I guess I will have to just take the rest of the planet where they don't care what's in my blood system or what's in my pedigree or anything else. I guess I will have to survive with the 4 or 5 places I can't go. Oh, boo and who. But yeah, guys, I kind of wanted to talk about that so you know where I'm coming from. You wouldn't understand it if you didn't grow up with it, I don't think. But yeah, if you grew up with it, it's like, yeah, there can be rampant racism in all people, unfortunately, because it was you were let to know that you were mixed race and you were less than, you were subhuman because you were not a pure blood. It's stupid and it's elitism, and I don't agree with it, but what are you gonna do? So, if you like what you see, and you're not firing up the hate comment machine, go ahead and, like, comment, subscribe. And I will see you guys later. And yeah, if they did not take it down because we're so overly PC, I did write an article one time that goes more into, like, the lovely emotional trauma of dealing with my family because, man, they were racist. Okay, guys, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.